Here is a mess today. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Brock the Collector here, coming back to you with the top 10 Marvel Legends of 2022. But real quick, I just wanted to start with this introduction, this short speech here, and also to put a little face to the name, because even though this is not the first time I'm showing my face on camera on the channel, it's probably the first time a lot of y'all are seeing it. Let's be honest, most of y'all hopped in with the Marvel Legends collection video recently. I wanted to thank you guys, number one, for getting that video to 100,000 views within the first month. I'm sure I'm already thank you guys several times, but once again, I mean, too many thanks can't hurt. And also the 4,000 subscribers, finally reaching 4,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. This is all y'all. You see, I don't be telling people about my YouTube channel because I want my climb up to like however many subscribers I get to be authentic. I want to say that it was all me who did that. And I also want to say, I also want like the connections and, all the stuff, all the friends I make on YouTube and stuff like that to be genuine and to have come from the sense that I put out videos that actually entertain people, and to know that that actually is happening and that 4,000 people have been willing to join me in this collecting journey and this love and passion for figures that we all share. It's just amazing. I'm left speechless every single time I pass another goal, another 10 subscribers, another 100 subscribers, and 1,000 subscribers just enough for me to get up on here and thank you guys personally. So thank you guys so much for that. And without further ado, let's get into the top 10 Marvel Legends of 2022. I think we got like 50 or 60 or something new videos or new figures this year. And my number 10 for this year is Konshu. This Konshu is a great Build-A-Figure, man. A lot of people's number one favorite movie figure of the year, which I can very much understand. It's just the sculpting, I mean, you're going to hear me say sculpting and texture and detail a lot, but it really is a fantastic figure. Take a look at the more finer details of that armor, or of his actual robes and stuff like that. The plastic there. Only thing I would say like could be done is like a bit of paint work, but that can apply to almost all Marvel Legends. Towards the head though, I feel like the head is just absolutely perfect. They always do a magnificent job on the head sculpts, and that is amazing. It looks like they gave a little bit of a brush to his staff right here. You got the moon staff, and that is huge, man. It's about almost 2 figures tall, that staff is. And he already is an imposing Build-A-Figure. This man is about the Watcher's height tall. Maybe a little bit shorter than the Watcher, but still a very impressive piece. And everybody, a lot of the times, bigger really is better when it comes to figures. I mean, I know it's usually the motto that size doesn't matter, but as far as this figure goes, man, it definitely doesn't hurt. Konshu, number 10. Number 8, I got here Riri Williams Ironheart. This was a figure that was not revealed when the wave was revealed. This figure was actually leaked out. I think it was like a week before it actually dropped, which was pretty cool, having a figure officially announced and then just able to get it about the same day, hit Target stores. And I'm honestly really surprised with like, this was a deluxe figure, right? But really, when you consider value for money, this figure came with tons of accessories, whole new sculpt, jetpack, blast accessories for both the jetpack and the hands, interchangeable head sculpts. Like really, when you talk about what you want a deluxe figure to be, it's the Riri Williams Ironheart figure. It's really everything down. It's already a beefier armor suit, even for a woman figure, and yet it's just fantastic. Only thing I'd say might be lacking again is maybe just a little bit of paint as far as Konshu. Like, similar to how Konshu lacked just a little bit of paint, I feel like in the movie there are some details that could be brought out into this sculpt with just a little bit of extra paint work. But I'm sure that they didn't even have the whole color scheme down right from the preliminary concept art, because if you take a look at this figure and the package art that they used, there's not really any detail missing as far as the paint goes that you can really see. Maybe there's just a bit of paint missing on the shoulder pads from the movie version. But if you're getting the figure and you got it up there next to your Wakanda Forever figures, this is an extra bonus with these extra like gauntlets that she got on. And it's just very well engineered. The sculpt is just magnificent. And take a look at those eyes. One thing I love that they did with the Marvel Legends this year, right? You know how characters can have a lot of glowing eyes and stuff like that? They take like the color that the eyes glow. They do a very light version of it around the eyeballs, around the, what the hell are they? What is the center of an eye called? Why am I forgetting? Iris? Anyways, they take the color of what the eyes are supposed to be, and then they put this little like white dot in the middle of the eyes, just a teensy bit, almost like a speck of it, so it looks like it's glowing. I just think it's fantastic. My camera ain't great at popping it up, but it is there, and it's magnificent. So Riri Williams Ironheart, number 9. We ain't gotta travel far to our number 8. It is, of course, Okoye here. A figure that they dedicated an almost completely new sculpt to. When you really take a look at between this figure and the Build-A-Figure version that came out back in 2018, you can really see the improvements that they made upon the sculpt. It really just does feel like a modern version of that costume because there's not really that many design differences between Okoye's, you know, Dora Milaje general suit between the first and second movies, yet they still did commit a almost completely new sculpt to this figure. Double jointed, pinless. This figure really shines for me in the legs. The legs just, the sculpting, it's just fantastic, this figure. You got a lot of this nice paint work and texturing up near the chest and the lower torso, the abs. It's great. There's a lot of separate pieces on this figure too that really make the detail feel more dimensional, and it really is just very impressive. The only thing I'd say about this figure, only gripe I really got, is that it comes with the inaccurate spear that they gave all the other Doras over time. But they did remedy that with the What If Killmonger giving that one an accurate Dora spear, all new. And we managed to throw that with this Okoye, which I just think is fantastic, having that combo right there with the Dora Spear and Okoye, man. You got that little panther on her, like that little panther insignia sculpted in on her belt buckle. It's a really cool figure. And the head sculpt again, really nice. Paint detail required on the helm, on the top of the head is there. So yeah, really good looking bald-headed demon. Okay, call this a package deal because number 7 is Attuma. Well, look, Build-A-Figures are usually, a lot of times people do their own separate lists for Build-A-Figures because oftentimes they usually are higher quality stuff because, you know, they're oftentimes bigger. Sometimes they have more paint going into them. And they're kind of a bonus for getting a complete wave. You know, one gripe I've always had with Star Wars collecting is that there is no Build-A-Figures in Star Wars, yet they charge, like, there's no Build-A-Figures with the Star Wars Black Series line, yet they charge the same price as they do for Marvel Legends. And whereas Marvel Legends, if you get a complete wave, you know, you can easily assemble and have another bonus figure to go along with your collection. Star Wars Black Series has the exact same price point, and yet, you know, even though it technically is easier to cherry pick, nobody is stopping you from cherry picking with Marvel Legends and selling off the Build-A-Figure piece that you don't want. Actually, you'll probably be able to make a bit more money off of it that way. So it's all the more rewarding whenever we get a really fantastic Build-A-Figure like Attuma that just has almost all the sculpted detail you could wish for. Paint apps is not really as much like paint detail as going to a lot of other figures here, but where he has it, it counts. You know, he has the bones painted on a lot of the sculpt around here. It's a nice mixture of like, you know, plastic being sculpted in one color and actual paint being applied, because, you know, the separate pieces that he has are usually sculpted in the plastic, and usually that allows for like a sloppier paint job, because say that they sculpted his shoulder pads here in like a black plastic and then they painted the tan over it, you'd probably have a lot of paint chipping on some copies and stuff like that. And you know, when they sculpt it in that actual color plastic, it is amazing. There's even a slight bit of a wash on the the hammerhead helmet there, and just almost all the details from the costume are there. I'm unsure if Marvel has released some sort of character visual dictionary for Black Panther Wakanda Forever or for Phase 4 in which you can see an in-depth closer look at Attuma, but I'm sure that if you compared this figure with the actual in costume or in universe details, it'll be almost like you plucked it straight off of the screen. Take a look at the weapons there. I mean, I know that Hawkeye's right in front of it there, but you can even see like it's like this weird, like shiny, ethereal looking purple paint on the axe there to make it, or on the spear there to make it almost appear like scales. You got the bones on the spear painted in. It's really cool, man. You hardly ever see painted detail on weaponry, and it just makes Atuma all that more amazing. Only thing I say that he's lacking is just a little bit of articulation in the ankle department, because you have those like fish bones there that do inhibit some ankle movement. But all in all, amazing. Do you even see the scars they sculpted into the abs? Just fantastic there, Atuma. All right, let's keep moving on. Number 6 is Moon Knight, another figure that is very worthy of being inside of people's top 3 or even number 1 figure of the year, as I'm sure that a lot of people do have it. Only reason my mind is number 6 is because now I'm not looking at these figures from like an objective point of view. I look at them in the sense that, like, at the time, and what do they add to my display? How much fun did I have with them at the time? And, like, what merits do they have to put them into the spot they have on the list? Moon Knight is absolutely fantastic. There's almost nothing wrong with him. The only thing I feel like I would have wanted, I couldn't necessarily put him in number 1 or in the top 3, because there are so many other figures here that I just feel like I wouldn't make any changes to. And as far as Moon Knight goes, not only would I give him just like maybe just a little bit of a wash, or a little bit of like a little bit of like a black wash. I know that they've done it on some figures. You saw how they gave Atuma here a little bit of a wash on the helmet. Not only do I feel like that would have benefited the figure quite a bit, but I also feel like he definitely should have come with an unmasked Oscar Isaac head there. And the Moonerangs are a bit too large. Those are the only gripes I got with it. And of course the plastic cape isn't great, but that doesn't actually bother me on this one, because the plastic cape anchors my Moon Knight pose that I have here. But the reason why this figure does deserve to be in the top 10, even including all those flaws, just goes to show how amazing the offering already is. For it to get to number 6, you already know with the sculpted detail, there's no issue with anything of the sculpted detail. Like, there's absolutely nothing. They did something very clever with the hood there, in which they painted the inside of the hood gray, so it looked like more of a natural shadow there, because I'm sure that if they painted it white, you still have some light creeping in, and it would look strange. And that's not how it looked like in the movie, so I felt like that was incredibly clever, as far as Moon Knight goes. Or that's not how it looked like in the show, excuse me. The legs are one of the most impressive parts of the figure. It just feels high quality. The legs there with those pinless joints feel very sturdy. Those aren't going to warp anytime soon, unless of course you heat it up. You got the Moonerang to the side there. The sculpted and textured detail on the legs is just amazing. Even got the hieroglyphics there colored in. It's one of those figures that's just like, damn, the Marvel Legends line is still in the game, still up there. And honestly, you don't have any other import offerings with this figure. And I'm sure that a lot of import collectors that exclusively collect imports probably even made an exception for this guy, because Moon Knight, definitely one of the more action-focused heroes we got this year. Definitely one of the most anticipated introductions into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the figure, it lives up to the hype. Since most people's top 10 lists this year, at least as far as the movie figures go, are probably going to turn out to be somewhat of the same, the goal for this video is brevity. So I'm sorry if it looks like I'm speeding through this compared to some of my other top 10 lists or other videos, but I don't want to keep you guys here for 30 minutes today. Here we got number 5, which is Peter Parker. Of course, if you guys saw my review of this figure, you guys saw how much it blows me away. And honestly, figures that I don't expect to enjoy as much as I do kind of have an unfair advantage of creeping into the top 10, because it's something like, it's kind of like the figures that you expect to be really good, you hold up to a high bar. So even if there's something that's not as great as you would have liked, it does kind of knock those figures down. But figures that you really have no expectations for, that surprise you, it kind of just boosts them up a bit. It makes them seem greater than they even are. This Peter Parker figure, in theory, is just a regular civilian Marvel Legend figure. But with the 2022 detail, it's just a 2022 civilian Marvel Legends figure. But with the 2022, like, engineering and sculpt and detail that we have going into this figure has not only pinless joints and just some amazing range, but also just some of like the most satisfying posability I have felt on a Marvel Legends figure in a really long time. And the fact that it's a civilian figure is just amazing. I even love the details that they put in as far as, the shirt under there. It's one of those things that's like, it's so screen accurate, and it doesn't even have to be. You could have taken any civilian body, put a Tom Holland head on it, and, you know, maybe scaled it down a little bit to make it look like a teenage body, and you would have had it right there. But not only did they dedicate an all new body, they dedicated some really nice looking paint detail to the, like, the plaid that he's wearing under the sweater there. The head sculpts are fire. Came with 2 head sculpts, came with the backpack, came with some books, came with some fists, I'm pretty sure. It's just fantastic, and it had absolutely no right to be. So that's what puts this Spider-Man figure up in number 5? Yeah, number 5, halfway through. Number 4 is Mighty Thor. So look, I love Natalie Portman. You guys know how much I love Natalie Portman. I think that she is actually a fantastic actress, one of the best that we got in you know, modern day movies and stuff like that. And oftentimes I feel like the only thing is that sometimes I feel like she holds something back in her performances every now and then. But there are just movies that she absolutely kills it. And I like seeing her, even though I didn't like Thor Love and Thunder, I like seeing her in Thor Love and Thunder because you could tell that she was happy with the sort of refreshed, it's like the refreshed, like, how I say, model that Jane had. She was happy with the sort of strong heroine role that she had finally gotten after being the love interest for so long, and the personality that she was able to give off out of, like, a regular person who was dying being turned into some sort of hero, I thought was very compelling. Probably one of the best parts of the film, next to Christian Bale over here. And the figure was, honestly, knowing that they have double jointed female figures nowadays, woman figures, and pinless as well, getting the combo of that for Jane Foster, it was so exciting, and it was absolutely magnificent to see something like that on Jane, because as many people that wanted a Jane for all these years, right? If they gave us a Jane Foster back in like 2018 or something like that, it wouldn't look like this. You'd probably have jelly legs, probably have very, 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 like, limited arms in terms of range, and overall the figure would not be in this sort of heroic, really nice looking designed armor that we have nowadays. So getting a look at that with that Natalie Portman head sculpt, the figure overall is just a fantastic offering. Almost no complaints with it. Almost no complaints. The helmeted head sculpt is especially fantastic. Only thing I'd say is that I wish that she was given a spinning Mjolnir effect. That's all that I wanted out of any Marvel Legends Thor figure. Luckily, the Mafex figure was able to provide that for me, the Mafex Captain America. And now this is probably one of the favorite Thors I have up onto the shelf. Even though I don't even like plastic capes, the red that they use for this plastic cape just looks absolutely amazing. I also love it when the cape is antiquated into the sculpt, such that it appears as if though the sculpt is completely like so that the cape doesn't actually have to have a peg hole in the back. I love it when they just work it into the sculpt there. And again, the texturing and detailing, magnificent. Jane Foster and Natalie Portman, number 4. A figure that nobody was even expecting to get this year, most likely. Number 3, Richard E. Grant's classic Loki. Now, of course, one of the little sweet surprises of the Loki show, I really do like the Loki show, probably one of my more higher rated Disney Plus Marvel series, and the figure, again, I'll take almost everything that I said about Jane, even the acting thing for Natalie Portman, and apply that to Richard E. Grant. Super duper underrated actor. And another Star Wars to Marvel transition. Isn't that kind of crazy? Figure is amazing. I'm not going to say sculpted detail, texturing, everything again. What I will say, though, is that when you have these comic accurate suits brought into live action, and you have a figure of that, it sort of creates a more, it creates a more, like, a more expanded sense of world building up onto your shelf. Because oftentimes Marvel Legends, especially the movie inspired releases, can have their characters, these heroes who have very flamboyant outfits in the comic books, looking sort of, you know, how I say, plain, sort of like wearing suits and stuff like that, tank tops or whatever. No, Richard E. Grant said, or at least the designers of Loki, the costume designer, said, we ain't having none of that. It's a variant Loki. We are making him classic Loki. And they did a magnificent job. I also really love how he has these magic effects here that are sculpted into the hand. It's just great. Richard E. Grant, classic Loki, number 3. Honorable mentions for this year: One of them goes to Konshu Gomez's America Chavez. Only thing I think could have been done on this figure is the face. The face is, I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it really evokes her super duper well. But the figure itself, just going from the body and everything like that, it's a really fun figure to mess around with. You know, whether you're a comic collector or a movie collector, I feel like if you can get yourself like a good comic head, you can even mess around with this figure and have it there. One thing that they really went off on for this figure for absolutely no reason is the hands. I don't know if my camera will be able to focus on that. Can it focus on the hand? Hello? Okay, it can't really... Okay, there you go. That's a bit better. The sculpted and texture on the hands is just... It's way better than it even has to be. Like, the detail in the palms... Whew! It's a really fantastic figure, man. I know I've said that for a lot of stuff on this list, but... Okay, sorry, I'm getting the camera into the proper resolution right there. There you go. But yeah, no, the detailing in this figure... ridiculously good. The 2022 adjustments that they've made as far as like their engineering for figures is probably one of the main reasons why most of these figures here are completely random characters from completely random projects that aren't usually completely related, like characters that I never expect I'd have their top 10 figures on my lists. But with the new way that they have designed these figures and they're making them now, they're able to churn out just some of the absolute best of the best figures that you can get for these characters on the market. And that is no exception with this She-Hulk figure. Everything that everybody has probably said, I'm probably, I don't feel like repeating necessarily. It is a fantastic figure. It is a fantastic figure. Almost nothing wrong with it. Only thing I'd say is look out for the 5-head She-Hulk copies. You know, as somebody who has a big forehead themselves, I really know how frustrating that can be for somebody to have, especially for them to make your figure inaccurate in that sense. How frustrating it can be to have that as a collector. So hopefully, if you guys do see them in stores, I know that this wave is going on clearance nowadays, try to get yourself a good copy. But I'm telling you, do not pass up on this figure, guys. Do yourself a favor because it really is fantastic. That sculpted detail there. I'm trying to have the light sort of glisten off of the sculpt so you can even see how they textured in the abs in there. I don't even know if it's intentional, but you can sort of see like a belly button over there. That probably is intentional. It probably made that indentation into the sculpt to have that. But where this figure shines for me is the hair. Look at like the green brush that they used on the hair. Whew, man. And the green is just satisfying to look at too. Nice. Yeah, She-Hulk, I don't even have to explain myself. Number 2. Second honorable mention goes to Kate Bishop. You know, I really love how Phase 4 and like how Hasbro is already giving you a lot of these characters that you're seeing in these TV shows already. I'm sure that a lot of people are already crafting their Young Avengers or New Avengers teams with the stuff that we're already getting, because we got a good amount of them here to already craft yourselves these teams that I feel like they're building up to. And Kate Bishop is one of those that's probably going to be a focal point in the Young Avengers if they choose to establish that. And you'll want this figure in your collection for that. It is really good. Only reason why it's not made it onto my top 10 list is that I really just don't feel like that head sculpt is as good as it could be. I do see Haley Steinfeld from some angles, but especially after watching Bumblebee, I feel like they could have made a better head. But the figure itself, though, again, everything 2022 Marvel Legends sculpting and detail, that's a pinnacle of it for that figure right there. See, I don't feel like Rentra's getting enough love. He's a fantastic figure. The only thing is that since he didn't have a lot of time in the movie, I don't feel like he's getting a lot of praise because, again, a lot of people may not even want his figure given how he was given such little time. Hardly any voice lines. But really, if you look at it from an objective point of view, the figure is, there's nothing wrong with it. You really can't upgrade it any more than it already is. You can't really give it any other changes. Maybe you can give it the more screen accurate robes or whatever. But as far as the sculpt and detail goes, you can't say that this figure isn't magnificent. Like, it has almost all the paint application that it needs. It even has like a dry wash on the horns there. I don't know customizer details. I'm not calling it a dry wash, but you know what I'm saying, when they make the horns appear realistic by adding that sort of that multi-dimensional looking plastic that almost makes it appear like it's textured there. Like, it looks like you actually put real Minotaur horns on him. The head sculpt is ridiculously good. It's just the sculpt, even down to like the engineering for the calves and everything, for like his Minotaur legs. I'm sure that you have like an actual name for cow legs and stuff like that. The tail is even articulated. I mean, like, did y'all know that this figure has a lot of surprises, and I just feel like it's just getting shadowed just because it's he had hardly any screen time in the movie. It's a really good figure. If you get your Wintra wave, or if you manage to find these figures and you manage to get this wave for a good price, I really do recommend constructing this Wintra because it's really good. It's really good, really good. Everybody's biases creep into their #1 figure of the year. And for me, I think you guys already knew that it was going to be Infinity Ultron. Not only is Ultron my favorite Marvel villain of all time, and not only was I incredibly excited to see him come back to What If, I wasn't even expecting it, really. Even when I saw that concept art, I was just like, that kind of looks like Vision, but I'm not sure who that is. For that concept art to have been, you know, actually Vision with the, like, Ultron having obtained the Vision body, I just thought that it was a stellar idea for an anthology series episode. And as soon as you see him just get those Infinity Stones, the man slices Thanos in half like this man is cutting some tomatoes or something. The way that you see him take those Infinity Stones, and this new armor just materializes around him. It's action figure 101 glory right there. Like, I'm sure if the Hasbro team saw that, they're just like, guys, get on that literally immediately. And yeah, man, the figure, it's really good. I'm not saying that it doesn't have flaws. It's too short. I know it should have come with another head sculpt. Maybe could have come with some more accessories, maybe even some fists. But as far as the figure goes, the offering here, paint, not an issue. Nice, shiny, metallic paint. Really good looking. Lance, huge and accurate, which I cannot complain about. It even has like these grooves in it around here, and it almost looks like there's paint inside of those grooves. To this day, I'm not even sure if that's paint or if that's just the light reflecting off of the inside, but for now, I'm gonna call it paint in those grooves on the spear right there. And I'm telling you, that spear really is massive. It's almost like 9 inches long. Oh, detail in the sculpt. It's everything there is down pat. It's just a bit too little, but I have it on a flight stand, so that doesn't really affect mine. Again, everybody's biases creep into their top 10. In this figure, I was looking forward to it for so long. It was #1 on my wish list for 2022 Marvel Legends. And to have it revealed, it was about this week last year that it was revealed in a live stream. And to have it in hand in real life, it's surreal. It's surreal. It still is. But yeah, that is my top 10 Marvel Legends of 2022. Again, I thank you guys so much for getting us to 4,000 subscribers. Let's keep climbing. Let's keep going. That for the Marvel Legends collection display video to reach 100,000 views within 1 month is just ridiculous. So I look forward to getting you guys some more content. Star Wars and Marvel, I will do my absolute best. We took a look at the Ant-Man wave earlier on this week. Best believe we will take a look at it in hand when that comes around. But honestly, I feel like the next wave we're going to be looking at here for the Marvel Legends display here is the Guardians of the Galaxy wave. You guys already know where they finna go. We finna talk about them when they come in, and we'll take a look at those figures. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe out there. Tell me in the comment section what is your top 10 Marvel Legends figures of 2022, and I will catch you all next time. Later. Always remember to be the best, and I'll see you all later. All right.